If you've ever held a crystal and felt something you couldn't explain, maybe a wave of warmth or a sudden download or a sense of peace, it's really not your imagination. There are so much to crystals that can be useful for our lives. That is the easiest way to amplify what you are already doing, especially if you are more spiritually inclined, like many people are that come to my channel. Because the thing is crystals aren't just beautiful, gorgeous, pretty stones, but they are ancient. They are vibrating energies that can help us and guide us throughout our lives. They carry memory of ancient earth, and they hold different frequencies of magnetization, of healing, of abundance. And if you've ever felt drawn to specific crystals, there's a reason why. And what I have found is that they choose you. And a lot of times we might not know why until we kind of look into the background of these crystals. So today we're going to dive into the real spiritual power behind the crystals, how they work, how to connect with them. And I'm going to go over 7 specific crystals that I personally use quite often to help transform my energy. And as a side note, I'm posting this a little later, but it is 11/11 today, which is why I feel so aligned and drawn to create this video for you guys. If you're new here, I'm Sarah, and I create this channel to give you everyday practical ways to invite more love and peace and joy and abundance into your life through self-mastery and spirituality. So crystals have been used for thousands and thousands of years by healers, by mystics, and all types of cultures around the world. They weren't just jewelry, but they were tools and teachers and portals that humans can use to call in different things in their lives or help them with different situations or scenarios. And so when you learn to work with them correctly, they can be a very powerful influence on your spiritual journey. So before we get into like the nitty-gritty, I want to explain more of the science aspect of it for those that kind of are a little, you know, apprehensive or question like, it's just a rock kind of thing. So I want to explain to you in a more scientific way before we get into the spirituality of it, of why they actually do work. All right, so they form, right, over thousands and sometimes millions of years. And what happens is the atoms, the things that make up everything in this life, they rearrange in perfectly symmetrical patterns, which makes them incredibly stable. And because of that, that's what gives them this stable and consistent vibration and power, right? So you think about how our lives, our moods, our own personal stability can shift so often, but crystals don't. So they can bring that restorative balance to our lives when our frequencies and our vibrations and our emotions and our feelings and all these things are always changing. We can rely on these crystals for being a constant stability for us. So before we do a deeper dive into these 7 crystals that I specifically chose for this video to talk about, I do want to give a quick thanks to today's sponsor, which is Otter Spirit Bracelets. And that is what I've been kind of showing you throughout this video so far. See how beautiful they are? I'm having a hard time getting it to click in there. But these are crystal bracelets crafted with intention, whether it's for intuition or grounding or protection. They have individual bracelets that are, or stacks, which is what I got, for intuition and increasing my own spirituality and crown chakra. And what's really cool about them is that not only are they all hand-picked and designed, they're a small family-owned business, which we should all be supporting in this day and age with everything going on. But they also donate $1 of each bracelet sold back to Save the Otters. So they're from the Monterey Bay area, which actually holds a very special place in my heart because I do have family out there. I absolutely love the Monterey Bay area in, you know, Carmel, and they're very passionate about the otter spirit. And it's kind of, it'll probably be hard to show you, but if you see these little, let me see if I can, things on here, it's a little otter on there. I don't think you'll probably be able to see it. None of their gems ever fall below the A grade. They are tested through heat resistance, scratch, and they go through a rigorous color inspection. So these are very authentic, handmade, just stunning pieces. Oh my gosh. Even though they do so much rigorous testing, it also comes with a 2-year warranty and free exchanges. So I highly recommend, if you're looking for something that's beautifully handcrafted, that supports small businesses and the cute little BBC otters, and that you want to bring something more powerful into your life. Like I said, I chose the stack that to increase my spiritual fitness, opening my gifts a little more, but they had tons and tons of options. It was honestly hard to choose. So whether you're actually trying to bring in a specific intention, you think they're beautiful, they're just so beautifully handcrafted that I would highly recommend, especially right now with the Black Friday sale they have going on, that you can use the code Sarah Weber 35 for 35% off all throughout the month of November. I will also put the link in the description below. So I wanted to dive deep into a few of these different gemstones that I'm using. I'm going to go over all 4 of these, and then I have three of my other favorite ones that are sat here to kind of talk about, because obviously to the naked eye these can look very similar, but they're very, very different stones, and they can be used for different things. So the first one I want to talk about is this one right here. It's kind of hard to tell without some like good sunlight, but this is a rainbow moonstone, and this specific gem is very connected to intuition, to the subconscious, to feminine energy, sometimes kind of known as like the stone of cycles. So like emotional cycles, moon cycles, you know, rebirth cycles, if you're going through the whole spiritual awakening process. And of course, along that goes with the menstrual cycle, which is why it's so connected to, you know, the feminine energy. So what happens when you either hold or have a rainbow moonstone, it's very good for softening your energy but kind of expanding your awareness. So it's really good for, again, intuition, feminine embodiment, inner clarity, emotional healing. And so you want to use this stone when you are looking to begin a new cycle, right? A new chapter. And so with today and filming this and being on 11/11 and a really big manifestation portal, I thought it was perfect for today. The next one I want to talk about is a very common crystal that a lot of people use that can kind of be like an amplifier, and that's the second one on my wrist here, which is a clear quartz. I also wanted to show you guys, this is like one of my all-time favorite stones that I own. It's also a clear quartz. Isn't he so cute? Little dinosaur. And so a clear quartz is really a huge amplifier. So a lot of times it's really good to use in conjunction with other crystals. It's very good for cleansing, for manifestation, for clarity, for chakra alignment. And again, I always use it because it amplifies everything else, all the other crystals that you have around you, right? So you can use it on your own. I never really have. I like the amplifying effect that it has, but it's really like a really good way to kind of use a clear quartz is when you're doing affirmations, right? So think about it as the amplifier. So whatever you're doing, it's amplifying it. You know, if you're doing affirmations, if you're scripting, if you're meditating, you know, any of these things are going to be really good for you to use a clear quartz with. Third one I have here is selenite. So this one's a little cloudier, so beautiful, and it carries such a high vibration that it can actually cleanse other crystals, and it can cleanse your home, your aura, your car, your space, your body without it being cleansed and kind of charged itself. So it's kind of like self-cleansing. Now I'll still put it out like under the moonlight from time to time, but It's one of the only crystals, at least that I'm aware of, and I'm not like some crystal junkie, you know, but I have done a lot of research on them, and I've worked with them for a few years now. But this is really good for bringing peace, for purification, for some higher guidance. So again, it really goes well along with the clear quartz and the rainbow moonstone. So if you're ever feeling really drained or heavy, much like I have been lately with all the chaos that's been going on in my life, this is a really good stone to use to kind of cleanse and renew your own energy, and use it kind of as like a reset. So the final one in this stack from Otter Spirit is Agate, which is a very calming, stable, and gentle crystal. It's really good for grounding your thoughts, for soothing your nervous system. If you want to learn more about how to work with your nervous system and bring yourself back into peace, I will post this video here. But it's really good for emotional balance, for helping with overthinking, because we all know a lot of us are overthinkers, especially myself. I do have a video on that as well. And all around, just kind of creating this inner safety for yourself. And what it does is it kind of reminds your soul, your spirit, that you are safe, you are protected, and you are held and cradled and adored and loved by the universe, right? So wearing these 4 as a stack is so, so powerful. And thank you again to Otter Spirit for sending me these, because they're actually absolutely beautiful. And if you can't tell from my energy today and my voice today, I am feeling very like at peace, which is the first time I felt that way in a few months. So let's move on to 3 other crystals that I use quite often and that are my favorite. So this, let's see if I can pull that in here. This is Pyrite. Really, really beautiful, right? And this crystal is really known as like the I don't know, the prosperity generator, right? It's all about finances and money and calling that in and stabilizing that. Its energy is very like fiery, it's very activating, it's very loud. It helps you with confidence, it helps you with self-worth. It helps you strengthen boundaries and attract financial opportunities and feel empowered. It's a very strong-willed crystal. So what I like to do is I place it, this is my desk over here, so I'll place it kind of like near my workplace, near where I'm working with money. Sometimes people will put like a little, obviously not a piece that's like this big, but a smaller piece of it into their wallet. You know, it isn't like this crystal that necessarily pulls in abundance on its own, but it helps you shift into the version of you that creates and magnetizes and draws in that abundance. Next, I want to show you Bornite. Let me see if I can pull that in here. This is also known as the Peacock ore, as you can tell with all the colors. That's kind of what drew me into it in the first place. I went into this random shop when I was visiting a friend out in Denver last year, and I was like, I have to have that. And this crystal is all about raising your vibration. I mean, how you can tell that just from like looking at it, like it ignites, at least in me, right? Because it was something I was drawn into, but it like ignited like a happiness out of me, right? Like the energy is, it's joyful, it's transformative, it's expansive. So it's really good for, you know, boosting your mood and creativity and breaking old patterns. It might not be as strong-willed as the Pyrite, but also not as soft as some of the others, you know what I mean? So if you've been feeling kind of stuck or stagnant or a little lost, which admittedly I have been, you know, the last few months, this will kind of help bring your spark back. And the last crystal-ish kind of a crystal I want to share with you guys, and I'll probably do an entire video on this one once I'm like fully out of the storm, but it's one that's very well known in the community, and that is Moldavite. Kind of see that there. I got this back at a crystal convention in February of this year, and it has rocked my world. I really didn't expect it. I didn't believe what everyone was saying. I did so much research for probably like 2 years before I decided it was time for me to get one. And Moldavite is a legend. It is a legendary stone. and it was formed through a meteor impact. So it's kind of like this combination of extraterrestrial energy merged with earth energy, and its vibration is very intense, very you could use the word transformative, but it's very disruptive, and it's very intense. I was talking to my best friend on the phone last night, and she literally said to me, and we've been friends for so long, she was like, I feel like this has been your most difficult year yet. And she's not wrong, you know. And I said to her, because, you know, I told her when I got the Moldavite and everything, I was like, goddamn Moldavite, you know. So we were laughing about that. But it's really known for really shaking up your life. A lot of really big shifts, timeline acceleration, and rapid spiritual awakening. Okay, and it's gonna look different for every person that has it. And let me know in the comments if you do want me to do a full video on this. I think I will. I just don't know that it feels like it's time for me to do it yet, because I'm still kind of like in the trenches dealing with what this little monster did to me. And I will say that Moldavite is no beginner stone. All of the rest of these that we've talked about today, go for it. I recommend that you do your research and make sure that you are ready for Moldavite, because I thought I was. And like my friend said, it's been the hardest year yet for me in my entire life. It's really the like, ready or not, stone of spiritual and life evolution, right? And a lot of good is coming out of it, and it shakes away the things that are no longer, you know, meant for you. But with that, you know, comes a lot of intensity and hardships and a lot of growth. You know, I've experienced a lot of growth this year, even though it has been like a lot. So here's a few easy, simple ways that you can work with these crystals, or whichever ones that you decide to get. There are like so many out there. So one of the things that I like to do is when I'm in a meditation, I hold whatever crystal I'm working on, you know, in my left hand. So your left hand is your receiving hand, your right hand is your like giving hand, right? So, you know, if you're trying to receive something, for example, if you're doing a meditation for clarity or abundance or something you're trying to receive, you're going to want to hold it or wear it on your left hand. Where if it's something you're trying to expel or get rid of, maybe it's overthinking or negative energy or blocks or whatever, you're going to want to go on your right hand. You're definitely going to want to charge them. So you want to cleanse them and you want to charge them, right? So cleansing your crystals is really going to get rid of all of the other energies. Like, think about it, like when you buy a crystal, how many hands has it gone through and spaces and things like that. So you're going to want to cleanse and clear out that energy that is, you know, stuck on that crystal and have it ready for you to connect with. My preferred way of doing this is with smoke, but you can use water, or there's tons of other things. And then you're going to want to go out and you're going to want to charge it. And you know, that's going to be under the moonlight. So I tend to do this usually with a new moon. You can do it under like eclipses and full moons and blood moons and all that kind of stuff too. It kind of just depends on what the crystal is and what your intention is with it. So I would recommend just kind of doing a deep dive into crystals that you're drawn to, and then charging it in whatever way works for that crystal. And if you guys do have questions about specific crystals or how to go about that, just drop it in the comments below and I'll let you know. And you can make crystal grids, which is basically like setting them around in a specific geometric shape to kind of amplify whatever intention you're trying to do. You can use them to magnify any of your intentions. So if you take, you know, a crystal, say I'm trying to you know, bring in more financial abundance or something, I can hold this like on my heart while I'm either doing affirmations or meditating or whatever it is, and so it can amplify that intention. And of course you can wear them like this. I find that that's the easiest way, plus they're freaking stunning, especially these ones from, you know, Otter Spirit. So again, you want to be cognizant of where you're putting it on your body, and what your intentions are with those crystals. But I will say, just like always make sure that you're using gratitude with your crystals. So like, for example, if you're working with a crystal, like say I'm working with my little dinosaur right here, after I'm done working with it, you can just say like, thank you for sharing your energy with me. I always kiss mine. You don't have to do that, but I'll be like, you know, say I'm working with my little clear quartz, thank you so much for sharing your little energy with me. And that's kind of how I'll end my session with the crystal. So I hope you guys found value in this video and that gave you a little bit of a deeper understanding of crystals and how to work with them. They're such a fun and magnifying tool to use. I would recommend anyone, even if they're not spiritual, to use some crystals. If you guys have any questions about anything we talked about in this video, please just let me know in the comments below. I love you guys so much. Please don't forget to like and subscribe so we can hang out again next week. I love you so much, and don't forget, be limitlessly yourself.